I'm a woman, and I'm going to talk about Ghostbusters.
Man, shut up.
Hey there film fans, yes it's finally here, the new Ghostbusters, directed by Paul Feig, starring Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Leslie Jones, Chris Hemsworth and Kate McKinnon. Firstly, let me just pay tribute to the fact that I was in the worst screening ever. I had probably, I would say, 20 to 30 people in the screening, 3 of which were small boys which were sat behind me, kicking the chair and talking at full volume despite me going shh, shh, shh every so often. And then slightly further back was the epitome of a geek boy who was talking to himself throughout the film. Like, there's Bill Murray, oh look, it's Bill Murray, ha! Type of thing. It was just painful, but I'm going to try to brush that aside and talk about the film. The plotline does have a lot of similarities to the first film. Melissa McCarthy's character, Kristen Wiig's character, used to be partners, wrote a book together about investigating ghosts. Kristen Wiig stopped talking about ghosts and went off to be a proper scientist, but then circumstance brings them back together. They then go and see a ghost and decide to get the team together, bringing in a couple of new folks along the way. Firstly, let's talk about Melissa McCarthy, who was really good, I think. I don't think she really laid a foot wrong. She might have got the odd slightly not as good script moments, but really I think she delivered. Was funny, charismatic, likeable. She was my favourite. Kristen Wiig seems to have somehow been typecast as being a bit wimpy, which is weird, because my first thing I remember seeing her in was Bridesmaids, in which she was very feisty. But yeah, she could have done with a little bit more charisma, I feel. Kate McKinnon really confuses me because I can't decide if I think she's brilliant or really irritating, which probably means she's brilliant if it's that kind of line, because I often love things that I kind of hate. I did really want to like her because I felt like she was that epitome of a cool geek girl, and she reminded me in certain ways of some of my friends, but I'm still not completely sold, and I'd have to probably watch it again to work that out. Or maybe she'll always just be a kind of love to hate-y kind of character. Leslie Jones, I thought she was fine. There's been a lot of talk about how she's a black stereotype. Personally, from what I understand of Leslie Jones, I think she's been quite true to herself, and I think it's quite offensive that people are then saying that that is offensive, because if that's who she is, then don't tell her what to do or what to be. From what I've seen of her Saturday night sketches, she's being true to her character. But hey, I haven't seen a lot of her previous work, so maybe I'm getting this wrong. She didn't really offend me, so I was okay with that. Chris Hemsworth does a really good job of being the kind of eye candy, which is a nice reversal of roles, because normally the woman would play that part. He also ends up being a bit of a damsel in distress figure at a certain point, which is fun to see because obviously he's Thor. Cameos wise, everyone you'd like to see is pretty much there. Rick Moranis obviously probably isn't going to come out of hiding for this, unfortunately, but Harold Ramis obviously couldn't be there, but there was a bust of him at one point, which is a nice little nod. With regards to the plot, yeah, it's a bit thin on the ground. You kind of know they have to get certain points, and does follow the first film in a lot of ways. There is this slightly different baddie character who's okay actually, although I think he could have done with a bit more time maybe to build his character up. There is kind of a bit of a feeling that you need to get the players in place so that we can just push on business as usual. With regards to humour, I did laugh out loud several times. I was kind of alone often in laughing. I could tell not many people were, although some people did laugh at other bits of the film. For example, I don't find the power of Patty Compelsi funny because I've seen it so many times, but some people in the audience found that hilarious. I did have a little bit of an issue that I thought sometimes the jokes were a bit too crude for the target audience. Obviously front bottom jokes, drug jokes, not sure it's completely necessary. I feel like they were kind of trying to make a point that, you know, hey, we're women, we can say what we like, but I didn't feel that they fitted with the film that well. Crude is fine if it's funny, but a lot of the crude jokes weren't that funny. There were also an awful lot of jokes about prejudice, about sexism, about internet trolls, about all the things that the film's pre-publicity has encountered, and firing it back at the people, at the haters, which is fair enough. And it was kind of amusing. It was kind of a nod to the fact that they were probably quite aware when they were making it that it would rile some people up the wrong way. I was really not keen on the new theme music when I heard it a few weeks ago. In the actual film, I think it fits okay. I think it's used quite well. Obviously not a patch on the original, but kind of works in the context of the movie. I did have a real problem with the ghosts though, aside from them being really CGI. Why is there a dragon ghost? There's never an explanation of that. Why is there a dragon ghost? Why are some of the ghosts giants and some of them are balloons and some of them are demons? And just, I don't understand that. Why can't we just have ghosts? I know that Slime is a bit of a weird looking ghost and compared to other ghosts, but that's kind of cute. But I don't know, that kind of bugged me. I felt like they could have just had more people ghosts and done a bit more with that. It was nice, there were a lot of like in-jokes and references to the previous films as well as the cameos. There was also like a bit of a hint towards Batman, the Tim Burton one, because there's this like evil balloon parade that reminds me of the Joker's parade. Some people have moaned that they don't use their weapons correctly, but then they do introduce a whole host of new weapons, probably I imagine so that kids will buy the toys. So I don't know, I didn't follow closely enough to work out if they were using them correctly, but it didn't bother me. All in all, I mostly had fun. Sometimes I felt like they were pushing through the motions a little bit too fast. I did go into this with quite a lot of good intentions as well, so I was rooting for it to some extent. But then sometimes when you're rooting for something, it can really let you down. It didn't really let me down. In certain places it wasn't quite as good as I hoped it possibly could be. Hey, okay, it's not a patch on the original two, but what is, we never thought it was going to be, and I think for what it is, it's pretty good. There were kids in the audience, okay, they were little shits, but they've been introduced to Ghostbusters now, and that's something. But what did you guys think? I know some of you are going to passionately hate it, and let me know about that in the comments. If I haven't offended you too much with my viewpoints, then why don't you consider subscribing to my fabulous channel? And remember, busting makes you feel so, so good. So good.